Let's bow our heads. Our Heavenly Father, as we come before you today, we're mindful of your omnipotent presence and the mercy that you show upon all of us and the blessings that you have bestowed upon us all by having the opportunity to be here today and to participate in your in the democracy that you have allowed us to have here in this country. Dear Father, we ask your blessing and wisdom and discernment on every member of this court, and that only good and honest decisions will result from their efforts. We ask special thanks, dear Father, for the sacrifice that each of these people make from their personal lives for all of our benefit. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Pike County Fiscal Court is called to order. Madam Clerk, have a roll call.
Judge Rutherford.
Present.
Mr. Anderson.
Here.
Mr. Johnson.
Here.
Mr. Murphy.
Here.
Mr. Robinson.
Here.
Mr. Dotson.
Here.
Mr. Harris.
Here. We have a quorum. We now have Pledge of Allegiance, led by Magistrate Murphy, a veteran.
For me.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We need approval of the minutes of May 22nd. Jeannie and I both have reviewed those minutes and found them to be correct. To have a motion. Have a motion, Magistrate Johnson. Have a second, Magistrate Murphy. Have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson. Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson. Mr. Dotson.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Judge Rutherford.
We now, in the public comment part of our agenda, this is a special meeting. Anything that's not on the agenda cannot be discussed at the court meeting today under Kentucky Revised Statutes. Public comment is listed on the agenda. We ask if you have a problem and one person can speak to your problem that you come forth and you have 5 minutes. And I noticed we have probably 4 people signed in, but possibly one of them, 3 of them's on one issue. So if ever who's going to speak in regard to the road safety and repair, as stated, from come around, please. James. You have 5 minutes.
My name is James Lewis. I live in District 6, Mr. Harris's district, and I live probably on the unsafest road in Pike County. And I got the paper here where FEMA paid $27,000 to fix this road, and all the work they have done is fallen. And I've talked to Mr. Harris about it, and talked to Mr. Hatcher right there about it. And so far, Mr. Hatcher said if I called WYMTV, he wouldn't fix my road. Well, it's not my road, it's county road. Plus, Mr. Hatcher told me nobody got nothing done on a county road unless he said so. And you agreed with him, Mr. Rutherford, in the back. So it's been 2 years since anything other than where the road fell off and Mr. Harris sent some work up there, and it's cobbled up, poor work. Anytime you got poor work, it's unsafe. And everything on my road is unsafe as right now. I'd like to thank Mr. Doug Tackett for coming over and taking an interest in it and taking pictures and stuff. Since me and him looked at, the middle of the road is falling in now. And I would like to ask Mr. Harris when he plans on to come up and at least do something on it, you know. And this is probably the 4th time I've been here. And I would like to thank Mr. Deskins, elected judge. He come and looked at it. He's very concerned about the road. I would like to thank Bobby Varney, the next magistrate in my holler. He come and looked at it, and he's very concerned. I'd like to thank Mr. Bobby Mullins, the sanitation commissioner, for being very concerned. And he told me I could say this because he wouldn't be here. He sent his foreman look at it, and he said definitely need to be some work done. And he said he was going to ask Danny Branham, that's the road foreman. Well, Danny either don't know how to do or can't do, because everything he does is sorry, pitiful. It is dangerous. Everybody knows when you do work sorry and pitiful, it's dangerous. And I would like to see if we can get something done for this. And I don't plan coming over here and begging Mr. Harris to do his job. Now, me and Mr. Harris had a conversation Friday evening, which he said anybody could sign a petition. Now, Mr. Harris, can you tell me who's on that petition that don't live in that holler?
I'll let you go ahead and finish, James, and you can say what you need to say, and then I'll
Well,
address
okay.
what you've got to say when you
I'll
finish.
tell you this.
Go right ahead and finish up. And
What now? I'm very disappointed in you, Mr. Harris. I will not support you. I will not vote for you. I do not trust
Let's not
you.
get away from the issue. You're getting political now. Let's stay on the issue.
Well, I believe I better get down right now. Thank you very much, people.
Okay. Do you have a
Yeah,
response?
Judge, I'll address that. Mr. Lewis is our number one complainer and has been for quite some time. We've had everybody from the solid waste, well, there he goes, not going to stay and listen to what we've got to say to respond to him. But anyway, we've had everybody from, I've been up there several times, the road foreman has been up there several times. The solid waste department has been there. The emergency services people have been there. The road commissioner has been there. Bill Deskins has come over and looked at it. Bobby Varney, the magistrate-elect, has been up there to look at his what he says are his problems. And quite frankly, it's not much different than any other road in the district. I mean, you have issues with, all of our roads in Pike County used to be wagon trails, and over the years they have developed into at some point a magistrate or a judge improved the road by putting asphalt on it, and it used to be a gravel road and a dirt road turned to a gravel road turned to an asphalt road, and we have these same problems on just about every hollow road in the county. And eventually, as time goes by, the creeks eat out at the roadway, and you have breaks, and you come and you try to fix them as best you can with the amount of money that we have to spend. And we've done our very best to take care of Broadhead Hollow. We've done our best to take care of all the roads in the district with the amount of money that we have. But as you know, sometimes there's people that you just can't make happy no matter what you do. And Mr. Lewis is one of those people. So we'll do our best to try to maintain and keep those roads up as best we can with the amount of money that we have to spend as long as we're in office. Thank you, Judge.
JB, you come around, and we all know JB. We know Scotty back here and his family, and we know about what this problem that they have. We've discussed it here in court before and discussed it in my office. I know the other day that three of the magistrates come in for a meeting, and Judge Hayes said, you need to get lost because you got a quorum. You can't come into the meeting. And I realize under the statute that I have the authority as county judge executive to control what happens on that road. And of course, when it gets to me in the end, I will make that decision. But as stated in the past at open meetings here, we certainly, and I know JB, you and your family too, we want coal to roll. We want to mine coal. That's our main signature industry, and that's where we get money to operate county government, provide services. On the other hand, we have a responsibility as public officials for the safety of the people who have to drive on our roadways. So having that in mind, and also we have a responsibility to protect the county's interest in damage to our roadways. We have handled this with coal companies and corporations in the past, with bonds, with escrow accounts, with legal documents that's drawn up by their attorney and the county attorney's office. And hopefully, a lot of work has gone into meetings. I know that there was a meeting held that I referred to when I started talking. But JB, go ahead and give us a summation today of what the situation you see.
Thank you, Judge. I think that maybe this may be premature as far as when I come up here, because I thought that some of this is going to be settled as far as what the result's supposed to be as far as repair and such. So if that being the case, I would rather wait until see what the plans are. But other than that, if you want me to go ahead and comment on what I've got to comment on, I will. The Clevenger branch, which used to be Left Fork of Stone Cold, the road is terrible, which everyone that's seen it knows that to be a fact. This morning I drove the route from the coal, where the coal was brought down to the public road. From that point, by going down Miller's Creek, which is a great road, and then down Johns Creek to Caney Highway, which is like a highway, you know. That distance out to Walters Nissan Toyota, that being a particular point. The other direction, from that coal haul road out Stone Cold and down the 4-lane to that point, the distance through Stone Cold is 9/10 of a mile longer as far as distance goes. And as far as conditions of the roads, the other route I'm referring to, which I understand that the Millers Creek Road was a coal haul road, and I understand also that Stone Cold or Left Fork or Clevenger Branch is not a coal haul road, and it's kind of evident what the problems are. And those involved have seen the photos and all that kind of thing, and I don't need to bring that up. And the other issue, the main reason my wife is here, because our daughter and Scotty's wife are in wheelchairs. And if the point of saying monies won't be available until January, the ambulance can't get up there in January. And it's necessary. My daughter, if she gets in the floor, it's going to take the ambulance attendants and all that to help get her back up into the bed. So it's definitely a medical issue. And besides turning the cars up, that's pretty well what I've got to say. So thank you, Judge.
Mr. County Attorney.
Judge, we did have that meeting. I discussed it at the last court meeting. Magistrates Dotson, Murphy, and Anderson were all at that meeting, and I did have to tell you, you couldn't come because that would have made us subject to the open meetings law, and we'd had to advertise it. So, but you've been fully versed on this issue by me and others. You see on the screen the Clevenger Branch Road. I personally went over there along with Commissioner Hatcher, and we drove that road backwards and forwards. Just missed Magistrate Dotson, who was over there the same day. Something needs to be done, and it needs to be done quickly. We called a meeting with the coal company owners and their consultant and their attorney. And that's the meeting I'm referring to, trying to work something out. I mentioned last court meeting that this mine employs 22 people, and we certainly are cognizant of that and aware of that, but something must be done about the road. I've made that clear in that meeting and publicly since. We were, or it was the understanding when we left that meeting, and by the way, the Gillum family was present, JB was there and others at that meeting that we held in your office, Judge. But when we left there, the understanding was that the coal company would, by this court meeting, have a proposal to us for how they could work with the Pike County Fiscal Court and the magistrate in that district to bring this road back up to standards to where people could pass it without tearing up their cars. There's one house, and I don't know, JB, which one it is. You can't hardly get in the driveway. That's okay. There's the slide of it, and people shouldn't have to put up with that. I was told that proposal would be in my hand by today. Yesterday, having not received it, I contacted the attorney for the coal company and said, and reminded that attorney that I had received nothing. I was told, oh, well, we can do this or we can do that. And I said, put it in writing and get it to my office. We're having a court meeting today. I checked this morning. I had Jeannie Robinson call the attorney's office. I have received nothing. I made the attorney aware of your ability, Judge, and this court's ability to take the matter to begin to control the matter, at least insofar as the running of overweight coal trucks on this county road, and that's KRS 189-230 that I read to the court at the last meeting. I won't repeat that again, but that gives the county judge power to, by notice, take actions which this coal company would find not very agreeable at all. Judge, that's where we are legally. You have the ability to under the statute I just mentioned, to take action which I believe would bring the coal company to the table and let them know that this court is serious, that we want them to mine coal. We want 22 people to work in this county, but we want our citizens to have decent roads that anybody ought to expect. And Judge, I'm hopeful that we can do that. I asked Commissioner Hatcher to get us a price, and he's in the process of doing that, of what it would take, Magistrate Dotson, to bring this road up to standard with the proper type of base if they're going to haul. Commissioner Hatcher is doing that. He has a recommendation, I believe, Judge, to make to you with regard to this road, and that is the alternate route that J.B. Gillum mentioned. Commissioner Hatcher, is that correct?
Yes, my recommendation today, since we were having trouble corresponding with the coal company, is to put a restriction weight limit on Clevenger Branch immediately, if not sooner, and then they'll have to go out Miller's Creek, which we've asked them to do. If we don't, we can't repair the road, and what I'm doing in the process is getting hold of Ruth with Mountain Enterprise. She's going to go down there and give me a quote what it'll take to base Clevenger Branch to make it standard to a coal haul road.
As I understand it, Commissioner Hatcher, and I can't remember, I get so much information in the course of a day, it's hard for an old man to remember where it came from, Judge, but I understand that they're now running their empties back through Clevenger Branch, and I see the citizens nodding over there. That's something they weren't even doing before. They were taking the loaded trucks out, which has caused that damage, but they're now running the empties back. Now, that may not be as damaging to the road, Judge, but this, as you're aware, Judge, you've been over this road many times, this is a very narrow road, and it's dangerous to meet a car there, let alone a coal truck. So that's something else that I wanted to bring to your attention, Judge, and the attention of this court, and something else that is of concern to me, and I'm sure of concern to the good people there on Clevenger Branch.
Mr. County Attorney, what is your recommendation?
Judge, I listen to the people who know, and Commissioner Hatcher knows about these roads. We've had this trouble. Magistrate Anderson knows about the trouble that he's had over there, and when we had to force a company to haul out Miller's Creek, I believe, and my recommendation, Judge, is that we place that you place by notice
pursuant to KRS 189.230, a weight restriction on that, on Clevenger's branch, which will be such that neither loaded or unloaded trucks can use, coal trucks can use Clevenger branch. Commissioner Hatcher, I don't know what weight that would be. You'll have to tell us that, but and force this company to use Millers Creek. Now, if they want to then come to the table and talk about how they may be able to work with us on Clevenger branch, certainly our doors are open to them and our good officers are open to them. But if they don't want to work with us, that's the only way I know to recommend to address the problem.
Mr. County Attorney, if you'll prepare that, I'll fix my signature on it.
I'll do that,
Go
Judge,
proceed.
and that has to be by this statute. We have to post signs at both ends of this road, and then we're gonna have to get our law enforcement people aware of this, and it's gonna be up to them to stop it. And I would ask Commissioner Hatcher if he would make them aware by copy of minutes of this court meeting, or just by what you can remember has been said here today, what this court intends to do, and maybe the attorney for the coal company may be a bit more amenable to contacting us and getting serious about this problem. Thank you, Judge.
I don't have it.
Any other questions in regard to this issue or statements?
Thank you very much. That sounds wonderful. I hope to see it enforced, and I'd like to know who enforces it so I can call them daily, because this is a life-threatening thing to a mother. My daughter is terminally ill, has to take an ambulance 2 to 3 times a year. Another lady up there uses an ambulance 2 or 3 times a year. Last winter, we called 911. They couldn't get up the hill. The fire truck man walked it, the ambulance guy walked it, they pulled her back in the bed. But what if the bone had been out of the leg? You know, sometimes that doesn't suffice it just to be pulled back in the bed. It is life-threatening for that road not to stay open. But I appreciate everything y'all are doing, and it sounds great. It sounds like a great idea. Just need to know who's going to enforce it and how I can call them often. Thank you.
Thank you all. Come on around, Scotty.
Let me speak just a minute here. I'll just take just a minute. One of those photos right there is showing my driveway, and I took a pick and shovel 4 times. I did yesterday so I can get my car out. My wife's wheelchair is in that car, and that's the only way she can get around is in that wheelchair. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna give them just a few more days, and if they don't, that road's gonna be blocked.
Okay, thank you all. And we will proceed. Mr. County Attorney will proceed as stated. Next, we have the approval of the execution of the County Road Aid Co-op Program with Kentucky Transportation Cabinet. Mr. County Attorney, I think you read that this morning, and you had a recommendation on the resolution.
Oh, Judge, yes, I did read both the resolution and the agreement. Judge, that is the same agreement that this court has entered into, and the same resolution this court has passed, I believe, for the 7 years I've been associated with county government, and I would recommend that the court pass the resolution that authorizes you to sign the agreement. It's $3 million approximately that will come to Pike County through this program from the state, and about half of, a little over half of it comes up with the initial payment, about $1.7 million. So that's my recommendation, Judge.
I make the motion we adopt the
A
resolution.
motion by Magistrate Hart, have a second by Magistrate Anderson, that we adopt the resolution, authorize the county judge executive to fix his signature. Madam Clerk, have a roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson? Yes. Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson? Yes. Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes. Next, we have the need to approve the election officer's pay and authorize the treasurer of the office to make any adjustments that deem necessary to pay the election officers for the past election. I have a motion.
Judge, if I may.
Mr. County Attorney.
Magistrate Harris had asked that this be put on the agenda, and I spoke with him about it last week, and actually we had a resolution at this time, but I wanted to make it clear for the court and the public. Judge, for some reason, a form was changed in the county clerk's office, and that change brought about some confusion over precinct election workers and officers' pay for this election. Some were getting less than had been authorized by the court. The pay was set, Judge, as far back as actually an order of this court dated February 19, 2008, which authorized that pay to be $150 for each election officer serving, and it was broken down $102.50 for payment and $47.50 for the training which is required prior to the election for the election officers. Judge, on May the 20th, 2008, same year, we had a clarification. This court clarified that by order, and that was at the request of our treasurer for tax reporting purposes. That $150 were broken down accordingly at $47.50 for attending the training. Wages for serving as election officer, $85.50, and then expenses for serving, $17. That is a total of $150. Now, in addition, Judge, there is mileage paid to those judges who bring the returns back to the courthouse on the evening following the election. They're entitled to mileage under the state law, and that's KRS 117.045. Judge, we may need to, in the future, take a look at that and make sure that we are in conformity with that law, but that is not an issue now, and what I've said has resolved it. I informed Magistrate Harris, the clerk's office, last week that all officers should get $150, and they've made that correction, and those that were shorted have now been paid, I hope. So that'll take care of that, but I did want to inform the court of one other thing that came up during this time when we were dealing with this issue. One of the Pike County election board members came to my office and requested that she be granted and paid by this court certain extraordinary expenses, and that had to do with finding precinct polling locations up in District 2, I think for Elwood, Old Shelby, Yeager, and maybe one other precinct. And what had happened, these had all been in schools, and the schools were no longer there, and they had to find new places, and she was saying that she used her car to locate polling places. Well, there's no authorization in our orders or of this court for such expenses, and she also was complaining about maybe the time they spent on Election Day, 3 separate hearings, and the state law is clear on that. The county election board members are to receive only $100 per diem, so that's not an issue. But she did request those extraordinary expenses by way of mileage for finding polling places. She also asked for some mailing costs to mail out required forms to the potential precinct election officers. And when I checked, I found out that the Democrat member of that county election board and the Republican member have been taking money out of their pocket to mail these out. Now, why they're doing that, I do not know. They've never asked the court. But again, there is no provision for us to pay that. And I left it there. I said I would inform the court of the request and advised her that, in my opinion, the chairperson of the Pike County Election Board, and I understand that's the county clerk, William Pearl Elliott, should write this court a letter and request those extraordinary expenses I think there might be a problem with, receipts and so forth, but I said, we just can't, this court is not empowered by law to authorize payment just on those requests from an individual. So I've asked that be done, and we may need to take that up if and when that is ever done, Judge.
We'll wait and see if we get a response from the clerk making such request, then we will address it. Approval of the renewal of health and vision insurance and discussion with Obamacare changes. We have somebody that's available. If you would come around today, give your name, and we'll give you about 10 minutes to tell us. We are aware of Obamacare changes. We got ready last budget cycle to put that in effect, and the Obama administration gave a waiver and put it off till a date later, and that date later is here. So we fully well know, each member of this court and myself are fully aware of what has to be done. Mm-hmm. As we discussed it in our committee meetings in regard to our 2013-2014 budget, the one that seemed like they have a problem is the jail budget, where there are a vast amount of overtime. The county, in regard to, and Mr. County Attorney, you might get me straight on this one, but I think either special employees or temporary employees do not come under this, one or the other, under this. It's the way we understand it. But if you have any further information that would make available to this court, our purpose today is to get a budget.
Yes, sir.
That is the purpose of this meeting, is to comply with the Kentucky statute and get a budget for 2013-2014. Then, after we get a budget, we realize that we have to comply with the federal code.
Correct.
In regard to Obamacare. But Mr. County Attorney, I think one or the other is exempt from this, the special employees, or you might enlighten us.
Yes, sir. I have some material on that.
For the record, for the clerk's name, give your name and who you represent.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Judge. My name is Kelly Harding, and I actually own a company called Harding Benefits Consulting, and today I'm here representing CAECO's employee benefits. I manage the employee benefits for the association statewide. Many of you may have heard me actually speak on healthcare reform. Seems like it's been the topic for the last couple of years. I've had the honor for the last year to work with Jonda and Rhonda on your health insurance. And one of the items today is to present your health insurance renewal, and then again, Judge, as you said, to approach a little bit on a couple of issues you need to be aware of coming up on healthcare reform. If you're pleased, you'll find a packet, a white packet, and in there's an insert that, if you don't mind, let's set that insert aside. We'll come back to that at the court's pleasure. And on the inside, there is actually on the left-hand side, I put together an agenda, if you will, to make sure we hit all the points as we go through. And Judge, I think this may answer a couple of those questions that you brought up, because it's kind of complicated, and as you well know, the administration tends to keep moving the dates and changing the rules. So if you'll look in your packets on the left-hand side, the first thing I'd like to do is present the health insurance renewal at no increase. I can tell you in 15 years of doing this, I've only been able to walk up in front of court and say that a couple of times. So it's a pleasure to be able to say the same plans for no increase at all this year. Now, as they say, the rest of the story, it started out at a 5%. We went through some negotiating, and we got it down to a 0. Now, really and truly, if you read through the materials on the right-hand side at your pleasure, that 0% really represents a decrease. Now, let me tell you why. It kind of sounds like doublespeak. Coming into this year, this renewal cycle, 5% increases are directly related to new health care reform fees and taxes. So any group that got a 0 automatically actually received a 5% just to offset the increase in taxes and fees. So in essence, whenever I was able to get Anthem to reduce it from 5% to 0, if we account for that 5% of new taxes and fees, the cost of the actual medical went down 5%. So we actually saw a reduction in the cost of the actual medical, and then the 5% then to cover the taxes and fees required by healthcare reform. So I'm very, very pleased to be able to present that this year. Very little effect on the employees, or no effect on the employees, and then you'll have no effect on your budget for the coming year. With that, we always offer a vision plan, and that as well came in with a 0% increase. So effectively, when it comes to health and vision, no effect on the budget, no effect on the employees. You'll see no changes in plan designs. And the last item, I believe, was term health that you guys supply. And I think, John, said you approached this in a previous meeting, that's been approved, but we had a 40-cent per employee increase, which is very manageable. So on that piece, I'm extremely pleased to be able to offer that. Is there any questions on the health insurance itself, on the renewal piece?
Kelly, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Our local representative, Philip Pike,
Yes.
why is he not here today? Is he
He
still
had
our
a- he-
representative?
He had a previous engagement and asked that I fill in on his behalf today. He apologized for not being here, and they do support on the local level, and I handle the negotiations at the higher level. But Philip and his folks work with John and Rhonda on a day-to-day basis, on an employee basis when they have problems. So he apologized for not being able to make it today, and hoped that I could handle it for him.
I just want to make sure he's still with us.
Oh yeah. Don't worry, he's still with us. Spoke with him last night. As a matter of fact, we were supposed to have dinner last night, and for some issues, personal issues, he couldn't make it to dinner last night. But yeah,
Thank you.
Philip is still involved, absolutely, and valued.
Rhonda, I presume that he's already answered your all's questions, the treasurer and yours. So I don't think if you got any questions, you can ask him, but I think you've been working with him.
The second part, if it pleases the court, is I would like to go through the healthcare reform piece, Judge, that you were talking about. Make sure we're all on the same page, because as you noted, I think your jail has got some challenges in front of it, and don't feel unique. This is happening statewide with fiscal court. If you look at the second part of it, I wanted to just kind of walk through some of the items that's going to have to happen coming into 2014, and then one specific issue which I haven't read that we are going I'd like to expand on a little bit so that the court has a full understanding of the expectations. Coming into to this year, there are certain items that have to happen. The first one says SBC distribution. That is a new form that actually started last year. It's called a Summary of Benefits and Coverages. It is a new like 9-10 form we have to give out to each of the employees. We handle that electronically. We did that last year, and with Rhonda and Jonda's help, we'll make sure that gets out. The second item is that group health plans cannot exceed a 90-day waiting period for new enrollees. You guys are the first of the month after 30 days, so you meet that. We have no issues there. You're in good shape there. The third item are the 10 essential health benefits. The federal government, through healthcare reform, said there are certain criteria all health plans must meet. Now, your plans, for the most part, met that. There will be some minor modifications to make sure they meet all 10 of those, but Anthem will have made those transitions to make sure that your plan meets or exceeds those 10 items. And again, we're able to do that with no cost increase. The PCORI fee and transitional reinsurance fee, and there's actually a third fee. I'm not going to expand a lot, other than I told you in the beginning that 5% of the fees this year, of the increases, are based on taxes and insurance, taxes and fees. This is just 2 of them, and there's actually a third one that is 2.5% of all premium has to be sent in. So a lot of money this year is being generated through fees and taxes on healthcare premiums. The next one is the one I really want to spend some time on. It is the pay or play penalty that was scheduled to go into effect this year on July 1 for you. What happened is the administration said we're going to give some transition relief, and we're going to, based upon the size of the group, extend that further out. And for you guys, that means 7/1 of 2015 is when the pay or play penalty kicks in. Now, what is that? That basically says either provide insurance or pay penalties to the federal government. That kicks in next year for you. Now, it sounds like we have a year to not deal with it, but that's not exactly true. As we look through here, it starts next year, but there's going to be what we call a look-back period. And I want to walk you through that so that you fully understand it, so that you guys can begin to prepare for that, so you don't get caught next year having to offer insurance in some places you didn't intend to. So here's the first issue. The definition of full-time employees, that's in red. That's the key. The definition for full-time employees as it pertains to health insurance, nothing else, pertains to health insurance, is now defined as an employee that meets 30 hours per week or 130 hours of service in a month, is now deemed a full-time employee and must be offered health insurance. Now, that kicks in 7/1 of 2015, so it's July of next year. 30 hours of service a week or 130 hours of service in a month. As it is now, I believe 40 hours is the number you're using as a full-time employee, so that's going to have to be modified or be prepared to pay some penalties. Now, as a second item below that, it says employees that meet these criteria, meets that 30 hours, 130 hours of service, must be offered insurance or you would possibly pay a penalty on those employees. So that's something that you need to be aware of. Yes, Magistrate.
Kelly, I've got a question about that issue. When we had our budget study, our treasurer said that, we would incur more payments where we got replacement workers. See, we have a situation that's in the workforce where if somebody's off on comp or sick, then we normally have a replacement worker until they come back, and sometimes that goes on for maybe a year. And, these people would be, I guess the way she talked, be entitled to medical insurance, which they don't have right now.
Possibly. Can I hold on? I got 2 points I want to talk about. Then can I come back and comment on that? Because that may help clear this up.
Yeah, I just wanted to get that one
Absolutely.
as we go. I didn't know you were going to come
absolutely.
back.
We actually spoke about that this morning, so please don't let me forget that. I got 2 more points, and that may help us when we go back and discuss that, because that's a great point that we need to talk about. And John and Rhonda and I spent some time on it.
Did I hear you say possibly?
Yes.
Okay, go right
Possibly.
ahead.
So if you move to the next page, I'm moving to the next page of the agenda. There's going to be a look-back period, and this is going to tie right in, Magistrate, to your concern. There's going to be a look-back period that says this thing starts next year, July 1. July 1 of 2015, 30 hours or more is considered full-time in the eyes of the law. Now, how do we deem that? We have to have a look-back period. So even though this thing starts next July, the way we deem full-time or part-time is by looking backwards. So that means that we have to begin managing hours now so that next year when we do the calculations, we'll know who's full-time and part-time. So it's a little misleading in saying, well, we'll deal with that next year because that doesn't kick in until next year. Well, it's correct. However, they're going to look backwards, and we're going to look through what I call a look-back period. We're going to look through a chart at the bottom and kind of define that a little better, but I want you to be thinking that even though I'm telling you 7/1 of 2015, you have to start managing. My recommendation is going to be 7/1 of 2014. We'll talk a little more.
Did you say 7 months? You want to look back 7 months?
Well, we're going to look back. I want to look back a full 12 months, and when we get to the end, we get to the very end of this chart. I'm going to show you a 4-month test period and then a 6-month actual look back period. So we'll go through that chart, but I think we have to start 7/1, beginning to do the testing, and then we can have 4 months of that before we have to be official. On 11/1, you need to start managing this thing for real. So if we start 7/1, we begin managing the hours. Now that gives us some time because it's not official yet. That gives us some time, 3 or 4 months, to figure out how we're going to manage these hours. On 11/1, that's a 6-month period. On 11/1, it starts. That's when the ticker starts. 11/1 of this year through 5/1 of next year, that would be your 6-month look-back period. That's the official look-back period. At that point, we would stop the look-back period. It gives John and Rhonda some time to figure out who's full-time and part-time. And then on 7/1 of next year, those people are going to be deemed full-time or part-time. So if you're looking backwards, it gets a little confusing, but July 1 of next year, we have to go look back 6 months to decide who's full-time and part-time. That would take us through November, but I think you need to go all the way back to July to begin getting the processes in place.
Let me ask this question. Is it mandatory under this act that you go back 6 months? Is that mandatory?
It's mandatory. This year, you can limit it to as little as 6 months. In the future, it will be mandatory 12 months. Yes. So this year we have a transitional year. They're going to allow us to pick 6 months, but after that, it is going to be a 12-month look-back period. Thank you, Judge. Now,
Okay,
yes, Magistrate.
This is a look-back period of 6 months, but it's just figuring out who's going to be full-time and all that. You don't have to pay it then until July 1 of 15, start paying them then.
Yes, on July 1 of 2015, you'll decide who's full-time, offer them insurance, or if you don't offer them insurance, then you would pay a penalty beginning that point.
But it's just a look-back period and figuring out who has to
Exactly.
be done.
This is literally just looking back at the number of hours to see who he is or who is not meeting that criteria at 30 hours.
Kelly,
Let's go back to your question on the fill-ins.
another question is, no matter how much you look back, if it's law, it's law. And, you know, the way our policy is set up, there's nobody going to work 30 hours or less on a full-time job. You know, it's hard to find people now with CDL license and people that's qualified to come in and do that replacement job.
Right.
And, you know, I can't understand about the look back because the law is the law and our policy is policy. So what do you say it could change on that?
Well, I don't see the law changing. Now, as soon as I say that, they'll change it. As we know, the administration has been changing the rules as we go. But as of today, I don't see the laws changing for 7-1. Now, I think your policies will have to be amended to meet that. You'll have to decide on your regular employee base, now not the temporary that we're going to replace. We're going to go back to your question in a second. You're going to have to decide on your normal work base, is this a full-time position or is this a part-time position? I think you're going to have to make a decision whether that is or is not full-time or part-time based on the 30 hours, and then next year figure into your budget those people. Yeah, exactly. You know, next year, what I don't want to happen is for us not to manage this, and next year you have 15 or 20 people you've got to offer health insurance to or pay penalties that you didn't budget for. So that's my goal, is to make sure whatever we do with our eyes open so that next year when that budget time comes around, you guys don't get caught off guard and go, oh my gosh, we've got 15 or 20 people we have to deal with now. Now, let's go back to your question about temporary. So let's say we have somebody that's working and they go on workers' comp leave or something, and you bring in somebody to fill that position. The term would be whether or not that person would be considered at that point full-time. And we can clearly say if you expect them to be in 6 months or less in that position, clearly we can say that those folks are not full-time. So I think if you got somebody that gets hurt or sick and they're off work and you bring in a replacement for 6 months or less, you're good to go. If they extend beyond the 6 months and get to that 1 year mark, they're going to be applied to this look-back period. So I think it's going to depend on if you have a replacement come in. If it's 6 months or less, I think you're fine not offering benefits. If they're going to expend beyond the 6 months, I think you got to start looking at this, because once they make the 1 year mark, you're going to have to look at that, whether or not these people apply. And if that person becomes full-time at any point, so let's say the employee goes off and he's sick or hurt, you bring in a replacement, they're a short-term replacement. At some point, though, that replacement is now, that's their position, then at that point you want to offer them health insurance because now they're considered full-time. So there's going to be some managing of the processes. I don't think you have to offer a replacement immediately. I think you look at whether it's 6 months or over, and over 6 months, we got to start looking at if we think they'll make a year and whether you need to offer.
Mr. Harding, as a consultant on behalf of KCO, you will be working with our treasurer and with our finance director.
Absolutely. That's one of my roles, is to be able to work with.
As we know, coming out of Washington, they've been waiver after waiver, and it's change after change.
Correct, Judge.
So you say you don't anticipate one on this, but you never know.
But you never know with this administration.
So, we appreciate you coming today, and appreciate you working with our treasurer and with our finance director and with the Pike County Fiscal Court.
Thank you, Judge. It is a pleasure to work with these folks. They've been wonderful to work with. At the court's pleasure, and Judge, at your pleasure, I was asked to take a look at, this is that insert, I was asked to take a look at the dental and voluntary benefits. If we can take 5 minutes, again, it's at your pleasure. John and Rhonda asked me to take a look at the voluntary offering to the employees. Now, The term voluntary, I want to make sure we understand. Voluntary means these are products and services that you offer to the employees, but they pay for them. So it doesn't cost the fiscal court anything to offer it, and we think that we've got some better offerings that we could put in place. Again, this is for your consideration. We were looking at maybe if you wanted to move forward, being maybe in August 1st on these product offerings. I'm going to quickly go through because I know the court's time is valuable.
We probably don't have time today to do that, but I'm
Okay.
sure when the time comes,
Okay.
if it don't cost anything and our budget would remain balanced, that we would make that available to our employees.
Okay. Okay, very good. The information's in here if you want to take a look at it, and my phone number is in here. You guys call me anytime.
And as you said, it's voluntary, and it's, if it don't cost the fiscal court anything and bothers the budget, all counties are having budget problems in Kentucky. I don't know
Absolutely.
Any that's not, but if it don't cost anything, I'm sure that we want to make that available to our employees, if they so
they choose.
desire
Yes.
to have that service.
Okay. Any
Anybody
other?
else?
We need to have a motion on the renewing of the health and vision with CAECO at this point, since there is not an increase. As a matter of fact, it's 5% reduction.
Mr. County Attorney, we probably need to word that motion, and Madam Clerk, did you get it so you would understand?
Yeah.
The motion would be, as I understand it, John, just to accept the proposal for the health and vision because it has no budgetary impact.
To have a motion?
That's your motion.
Motion, Mr. Anderson, to have a second, Mr. Dotson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson? Yes. Mr. Johnson? Yes. Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson? Yes. Mr. Dotson?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
I abstain.
Judge Rutherford?
Mr. Harding, thank you for coming before the court today, and thank you for working with our treasurer and with our finance director and the
Would you
court.
go ahead and sign these so I can give them to him as he leaves? That's the fully insured standard pricing assumptions. This is for the vision and then the 3 health plans.
Now we get to what this special meeting was called for, and that is the proposed 2014-2015 budget. Mr. County Attorney, you're the treasurer. You want to?
2 more places, Judge. Where, John? Where does he sign?
Judge, this is a budget summary of the Pike County Fiscal Court for fiscal year 2014-2015. As I said, it will be in summary fund on appropriations. General fund, $10,535,306. Road fund, $6,913,421. Jail fund, $4,806,876. Local government economic assistance fund, $4,538,528. Federal grants, none. Forest Fire Protection Fund, $36,237. Solid Waste Fund, $6,344,158. Special Fund, the LGEDF Recaptured Fund, $703,410. Special Fund Maintenance Fund Garage, $1,484,770. Grand total of all funds, $35,362,706, and that is the budget, Judge, in summary form, and this is a first reading.
Assistant County Attorney, you also need to do do the pre-approved recurring expenses as
Oh, I'm sorry.
a resolution there at the back.
I'm sorry, I had that mark to do and then forgot it. These are, Judge, in summary form, the Pike County Fiscal Court pre-approved recurring expenses fiscal year 2014, 2015 pursuant to KRS 68.275 paren 3. In accordance with state law, the Pike County Fiscal Court hereby orders the following recurring expenses for payroll and /or utility expenses. The Pike County Fiscal Court further orders, upon the written consent of the state and local finance officer, the following expenses be paid when due. Judge.
The last page.
Yes. Let me find it with one hand, it's hard to do.
We mailed this one, right?
I'm gonna scan it to them, but yeah, you've got to mail 3 copies.
He has to sign all 3.
Yeah, and he has to sign. Right there, that bold print.
I'm sorry, I've got it. Judge, 334 pre-approved accounts listed is hereby acknowledged. The above standing order shall expire after July 1st of each fiscal year. No more payments designated in the standing order shall be pre-approved unless a new order is adopted by the fiscal court according to the provisions of KRS 68.275 paren 3. And that needs a this is first reading. And,
Needs a vote on.
And this,
It's just as a resolution.
It's just a resolution.
this is the resolution, and the budget is the first reading. Will require no action, Judge.
I need a motion.
But the resolution does require.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is a resolution. Need a motion, please. Motion, Mr. Anderson, have a second? Have a second. Mr. Murphy, have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson? Yes. Mr. Johnson? Yes. Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson? Yes. Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes. Next is awarding of the bids. No bid. Magistrate road work. Magistrate Anderson, motion. Second, Magistrate Johnson. Madam Clerk, have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson? Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson? Yes. Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes. Magistrate comments.
Don't have any
Magistrate
comments.
Anderson.
Don't have any comments, Judge.
Magistrate Johnson. Magistrate Murphy.
No, just check and see if we ever got a meeting with the Transportation Secretary yet.
Don't have a meeting set yet with the secretaries?
Okay. And
When we
Frank,
get it, notify
Road
everybody.
Commissioner, are you still checking in on that asphalt at Upper Pompey there with that construction company?
Yes, I haven't got any answer back from them. That's why I was hoping, but I found out that while I was on vacation that you all went ahead and approved the payment to Hawkeye, and I was hoping that we'd hold up till we got that agreement, so I don't know yet.
I got a petition here I'd like Frank to check out about putting a road and a bridge on the county road program.
Madam Clerk, accept it and make it part of the record of this court meeting. Magistrate Dodson.
Judge, I have a few little things here. I got question there for Frank. I know he's been on vacation and things, but I was contacted by the coal company about the KBC road. Frank over at Phelps, they are concerned about getting their permits in and getting them taken care of, and they turned that petition in probably 5 or 6 months ago, and you went over and looked at it. Have you ever decided?
We discussed that, 2 meetings ago, court meetings, and
No.
and then was on a hold. I'm ready to put it in. We'll just have to put it on the next court meeting,
Me and the county attorney
at
talked
the
about.
KBC Mine Road,
Yeah, we talked about that last week, and and they'd called and their engineer did, and they're trying to get the permits to where they can go ahead and start doing some work, and it's kind of holding them up, whether it be a county road or a private road. And I think all the paperwork has been taken care of, and you've looked at it, and you say it'll be on the agenda for the next meeting.
Yes, we'll put it on the next court meeting.
If you don't care, will you give them a call and tell them where we stand, and they'll know to be expected so they can do their paperwork.
Yeah, they've been staying in contact with me, but since we had that last meeting, I haven't heard from them, so I didn't know, they're contacting the wrong person. But we'll put it on, Jeannie, we'll put it on the next court meeting to put the
Jeannie, would you
KBC
put it
Mine
on the
Road
agenda,
in.
that court meeting?
Frank, I thought they was dealing with the county attorney, but I don't guess John Doug's heard anything from him either.
Actually, I hadn't heard anything on it, and I apologize, Magistrate Dodson. It really slipped my attention, or we could have put it on here, but since it's not on here and this is a special meeting, we can't take action until the next court meeting. But there is no problem at all that I'm aware of, and we can assure them of that.
Thank you, John. And Judge, on the Clevengers Branch Road there, I was glad the people came in today, and I appreciate everything John's done. But I want the people to be aware that I don't have any say over that road until January 1. And Leo, I'm sure him and Jeff will be handling that through the county attorney and you. And I'm just glad that something's going to happen there to try to get some relief for the people over there.
Dodson.
And on the trucks, Frank, you say we still got 3 that's not been ready to come back.
We brought 3 back. They're sending the drivers down tomorrow, Wednesday, and they'll have them back in here, and then they'll take them to the shop where we've got 3 new ones being checked over. So hopefully by Monday, we'll have all 6 plus the 2 rollbacks will be on the job today, or they'll be at the maintenance garage today. Because Jeff has to go over and get all the number stuff on, then he'll probably have his rollbacks on the road tomorrow, if not day after.
I know we were hoping to get them back.
What the big mistake was, Hillman, I was on vacation. John called me at 6:30 while I was sitting down at a rehearsal dinner, and she said, Frank, you can't go to the CAECO conference because that's when you're taking the truck backs. And I said, well, that's right. But she said, I'm looking here on the computer, and the sales are the 4th and the 5th. And Jim had told me that as long as I got them there by the 6th of June. Well, then she got on the phone with Jim. Jim didn't even know they'd changed the auction date. So then when I got back in town, I had 2 of the trucks with minor problems. And then we had to take them down Thursday and Friday, and that was the holdup. If they would have been delivered, if I'd took them down this week, I'd have brought all 6 of them back. So that's how close it was to getting all 6 trucks back. But the body company, the company that puts the bodies on, were just about 5 days, And they were going by the same schedule that I knew about the trucks, and that was the only holdup on the trucks.
Judge, we have Darrell Sloan here today with a complaint he had last court meeting about the site that he looks at every day in front of his house, and Bobby is not here today, and that's the reason he didn't get on the agenda to speak. But I was wanting to see if we'd found out anything to tell him about addresses or whatever. Jimmy Dale's back there. I don't know if he's been working with Bobby or what, but Mr. Sloan's here trying to find out from the court, do we have any relief that he can look at to start getting some help on that.
The commissioner is in training. I don't know where are they, in Bowling Green?
So you already notified them to get in compliance with our ordinance?
Dan, would you make sure that Mr. Mullins or somebody in his office gets in touch with Mr. Sloan Make a note of that, please.
Judge, that's all I have. Thank you.
Magistrate Howard.
Judge, I just had a quick question about the flex funds, Frank. The 2013 rural secondary flex funds, are those under contract already? I mean, I know we had some projects, flex funds, that were going to be used for projects in District 6, and those haven't been completed yet. Are the 2013 funds under contract, or is there something else we need to do to?
On the last road list that you all turned in?
Yes.
No, we've had they were holding them up, and I was on vacation again, Jeff, and what did Rick Sloan tell you when you talked to him?
He just told me to resend my list, and I faxed it to him yesterday.
Okay, well, that ought to be, and then they'll send them up here.
And that's for the 2013 projects, right?
Yeah.
So
13, 13 and 14 year.
okay, so there should be a 14-year projects that will be up soon.
Next month.
No, they combined them both. We had some money left over on the 12-13 year. They combined with the 13-14. So that's how come you all had the amount you had.
80.
Right.
So
But
then the 14-15 is going to get ready to come
Right.
up come July 1. You all should start working on getting your roads together for that. They could get that under contract quick too, if you'll get your roads down there and get the MOA back here so it can be signed off on. You can't do any work till the MOAs are signed.
right. So the MOAs for the 12, 13, and 13, 14 years have not been prepared or sent here for signature yet.
Haven't been sent back up here from Frankfurt, but,
I think they had a meeting yesterday.
okay.
Because when I spoke to Rick, see, I had those bridges. See, I sent my bridges and my roads in last fall, and I'd asked him about those too. And it's been about 6-7 months.
I know it, and I told him we'd send them, but for some reason that's why I kept telling.
He had everything on the bridges, but he needed a distance on from the
he
road.
needed to,
I
from
got that to him.
194 over to the bridge,
Yeah, on Hertz Branch.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got everything for me.
Okay.
Are you dealing with Rick Long or Don Pasley?
Rick Long.
Okay.
Frank, since they brought that up, Rick Long was waiting on you, and I asked you about a couple of months ago to get him the description on that bridge over at Johns Creek.
Zion Drive.
Yeah, and I've not heard anything on it. He said all he needed was clarification where it was put into the county road system. And I think Rose is sent down, or you've sent down some papers, and they just need some more clarification. And, we talked about it a couple of months ago.
Right.
I've not heard anything on that yet.
I haven't either. I'll touch base with them, see. We've faxed copies of Zion Drive and explained to them that, where they took the track crossing out, that put it in, and that bridge is in the county road system.
What happened, Doug, was Zion Drive become Zion Drive after the road was put in there. It used to be a different name. It was off of Sunshine Lane there. There's a little right-hand road it went off. And the people didn't like the name of the road, so evidently when 911 went through, they told them they wanted Zion Drive, and that's their address now. But the road originally had a different name on it, and it went over the railroad track and come back down to where Fat Boy's Body Shop and all them residents is, and then the railroad cut the crossing out, so they couldn't get across there, so we had to build a bridge so they could get in there. And, Zion Drive become a name that the people had selected when 911 went through. And that is what's causing our problem. And, they've already cleared and okayed the pay on the work on the bridge on an emergency basis, but we got to get that cleared up to where it was a legal county road. Chris, I'm sorry to take up some of your time.
You yield the balance of your time.
It's okay. One more thing. I had some people ask me about signs for the boat ramp, some no dumping signs down there. Can we make those in your office?
Yeah,
I know we can make the green road sign, the green street signs, but can we also make signs that have the different, okay. Well, if it'd be all right, I'd like to get in touch with you after the meeting, let you know what, there's a couple signs that they want to be put up there, no dumping, no
Okay.
trespassing after hours, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And that's all I have, Judge, thanks.
Madam Treasurer.
Authorize any necessary transfers and interfund transfers to pay the bills, payroll, health, and life insurance.
Have a motion to have a second, Mr. Robinson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson. Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson. Mr. Dodson.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Judge.
Madam Treasurer.
Second reading of the budget amendment number 3 for the fiscal year 2013-2014. Would Assistant County Attorney read that in summary form, please?
He's entitled to that. I'm sorry.
Mr. County Attorney.
This is a Pike County Fiscal Court Budget Amendment Number 3, an ordinance relating to the fiscal year 2013-2014 annual budget and amendment thereof, whereas the Pike County Fiscal Court has realized unbudgeted receipts from the following funds. Be it ordained by the Pike County Fiscal Court of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, Section 1, the budget for fiscal year 2013-2014 is amended to increase the receipts of the general LGEA, jail maintenance fund, garage fund by total amended revenues of $572,806.80. And further, that the total amended appropriations be amended to $572,806.80.
That's first reading. Madam Treasurer.
That's the second reading. What?
This is the second reading. We need to have a vote on this.
I'll make a motion, we adopt the budget
Second reading.
amendment.
Have a motion. Motion by Mr. Harris. Have a second. Mr. Anderson, have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson. Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson. Mr. Dodson.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Yes.
Judge Ruth.
Authorize the following checks in the amounts of the Marbone Senior Citizen Center or the Pike County Senior Citizen Center pass-through funds when received on House Bill number 265 B 682-01, $50,000. Mullins Enterprises Company Incorporated pass-through when the NRCS funds are received for Millard Sloan Branch, up to $69,500. Summit Engineering Incorporated, the professional services from April 26, 2014 to May 25, 2014 on the prep West Care floor renovations, third floor, in the amount of $24,570.
Have a motion. Have a motion. Have a second. Have a second, Mr. Robinson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson. Yes. Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson.
Yes.
Mr. Dodson.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Judge Ruth.
Yes.
And on the correction on the election workers, we can use the previous order, can we not, in order to rerun and pay those for the oversight?
We didn't have enough money.
Assistant County Attorney,
Mr. County Attorney.
I'm sorry,
Got a
Judge.
question for you.
we can back up on the oversight on the election workers and pay them.
Yes, they weren't paid in accordance with law, so we now need to pay them in accordance with law.
We can use the previous order from last meeting.
The previous order was from May of 2008, to which authorized the payment of $150 per election officer. And also
Need an
February
extra order
2000.
in order to run the checks, is what I'm making sure that we're covered
I
on
think you're
redoing
covered
checks.
by both of those
Okay.
orders, actually, the February 2008 and the May 2008. It was an error really created in another office, not by you or this court.
Madam Treasurer.
I have no further business.
Okay. Any member of the court, we need a.
Judge, I think we need to go into executive session to discuss the
David,
perfection
Mr.
group.
Harris.
I make a motion pursuant to KRS 61-810 that we move into executive session to discuss specific personnel matter and pending or threatened litigation.
Have a second? Second by Mr. Anderson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson? Mr. Johnson? Mr. Murphy? Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson? Mr. Harris? Judge Rutherford?
Roll-off transfer truck driver, solid waste landfill, 3H rate per hour. The recommendation is Matthew Webb, qualified employee, be hired. It had been bid on by Thomas Orris, Matthew Webb, and Michael P. Thacker. Mr. Thacker asked that his name be removed. So Matthew Webb is the recommendation. Light equipment operator, road lot number 5, 4H per hour. Tommy Orris, temporary. Matthew Webb, temporary. Gregory Blankenship, full-time. And Melvin McCoy, temporary. Bid on the job. The recommendation is Melvin McCoy Jr. as qualified employee. Approval to hire Kevin Maggard from the Public Works seasonal mowing crew to solid waste area number 2 as a temporary loader at 2H rate of pay. Per hour effective June 3rd, 2014. He's replacing Justin McCoy. Acknowledge the resignation of Jerry W. Childress as caretaker of Sycamore Park effective June 9, 2014. Approval to hire Rosemary Childress as caretaker of Sycamore Park as special employee at a 0.8 rate of pay from April through September and $250 per month from October through March effective June 9, 2014. Approval to hire Kristen Robinson, temporary replacement secretary for Master District Number 4 at a 1A rate of pay per hour effective May 30, 2014. She is temporarily replacing Terry Connolly while she is off having surgery.
That'll be my recommendation. My motion to have a second, Mr. Robinson. Have a roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson? Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Judge,
Have a Mr. County Attorney.
I have one item of business I need to take up under the county attorney's business. Pike County Jailer Rodney Scott could not be present today, and Kentucky Jail Standard 501 KAR 3.020E4 requires that the operations manual of a jail be reviewed and updated at least annually. In compliance with that Kentucky administrative regulation, Judge, the Pike County Detention Center Policy and Procedure Manual compiled by Jailer Rodney Scott and effective May the 1st, 2014, was presented to me for presentation to the court just to comply with that. That's done every year, and it is a standard matter, Judge. And I'll pass this down to you for the clerk. That's all I have.
We have to acknowledge it.
Yes, I'm sorry, the court
Need a
does
motion
need to acknowledge
the
receipt.
thereof. Have a motion, Mr. Roberts, second by Mr. Murphy. Have a roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Anderson? Mr. Johnson? Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Harris? Judge Rutherford?
Motion to adjourn. Have a motion, Mr. Johnson. Have a second, Mr. Robinson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson? Mr. Johnson? Mr. Murphy? Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson? Mr. Harris? Judge Rutherford?